Hello everyone, welcome to another Nerdy Nummies. It's me, Exotic. See, I did a joke there. Today's getup is because I got so many requests from you guys to make a cake from the very popular series Tiger King. So that is exactly what we're gonna be doing today. Today, we are gonna make our first ever on Nerdy Nummies tiger cake. And to help me, I have a very special guest. It's one of my big cats, Big Cat Blue. Hold on, I gotta be really careful. She's a biter. Just kidding, she doesn't bite. I've raised her from a baby, so she knows me really good, so she's not gonna bite me, but she will take your arm off, so you gotta be really careful with handling these. I think that this is a kid's onesie. Blue, oh, good girl. Oh yeah, she's excited for this recipe. Aren't we, good girl? Meow. Okay, we'll stop now. I'll let you go, Blue. All right, good girl, Blue. For any of you who aren't familiar, Tiger King is a documentary series on Netflix about some personalities who own and work with some big cats. The series itself was really fascinating to watch, and I'm interested to see if they make another show or series about it in the future, which I heard might happen, so we'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, let's make a tiger cake. Let's get started. That's vampire, wait. No, that's not it. I don't know how to do a tiger, really. The recipe that we're making today is an orange cake recipe that we are gonna be dividing the batter into two and turning into the second half a chocolate cake. I did this to be really efficient with ingredients because right now it is a little difficult to get ingredients, so I didn't want anything to be of waste or go to waste. And this recipe is delicious. I'll be posting all of the ingredients and their measurements in the description down below, so if you wanna follow along at home, you can. So the first step to making this orange chocolate cake is we're gonna mix together our dry ingredients, our flour, baking soda, and salt. Whisk together until well combined and set off to the side. Tiger King, not Lion King, Mom. Mom, have you seen it?
Yes.
She just said part of it. Next, we're gonna mix together all of these ingredients in a blender, including 2 fresh oranges. These are seedless, and we are gonna be using the entire orange. Like I said before, this is a no waste recipe. We use everything, even the peel. That is right, we're gonna throw the whole thing into the blender. But before we do, I'm just gonna chop these into some smaller pieces, little cubes. Just makes blending a little bit easier. This is why Joe Exotic really carried a knife, so he could bake at a moment's notice. Anytime he could make an orange chocolate cake. I made that up, I don't think that's actually true. That was just for funsies. All right, look at that. We've got 4 delicious orange pieces. Oh, you know what these remind me of, Molly? Soccer. These were our little treats during halftime. Okay, so now we're gonna toss all these little oranges into the blender. The whole orange. Oh, whoa! Cat-like reflexes. To stop. Now add 6 eggs. You're gonna use the whole egg. Not the shell though. We don't eat the shell. Now this is the first time I've ever made a cake in a blender. I'm taking tips from my girl Justine. Shout out to Justine who has baked in a blender many a times. And it actually does work, so I have to give her credit. Pretty creative and pretty cool. Then add vegetable oil, almond milk, sugar, and vanilla extract. Now you're gonna put on the lid, turn it on, and blend until smooth. All right, we've got our wet mixture all ready from the blender, and I'm gonna pop the lid off and pour into a mixer. And slowly mix in your dry ingredients on a low speed. Be sure not to overmix. As soon as you don't see any more dry ingredients, stop mixing. This batter is looking so good. Next, we're gonna divide it between 2 big bowls. I'm just using an eyeballing technique. I'm scooping about half into one, half in the other. In one of the bowls, we're gonna be adding some cocoa powder, making this side a chocolate orange cake, and mix together using an electric hand mixer. It's such a great flavor combination. If you've never tried orange and chocolate together, I would highly recommend it. And if you love that combo, you're gonna love this recipe. So good. I really didn't want to use a lot of food coloring dye, so we're doing chocolate. Instead of doing like a black and orange, we're doing a chocolate and orange. In this batter, you do not have to dye. It's naturally orangey all on its own, and you can see the chunks of the fresh orange in there, but Just to make this color pop, I'm just gonna use a couple drops of orange food coloring dye, but this part is totally optional. You do not need to, you can skip this part. I'm just gonna have a little bit of fun. Okay, just a couple drops. And mix it up one more time. Our two batters are ready to pour into the pans. Over here I have 3 round 6-inch baking pans, which I've already greased and lined the bottom with a little piece of parchment paper so that the cake does not stick. To get a really cool tiger stripe effect in the batter, we're gonna alternate adding our orange and chocolate batter to the pans by scoop. This is about 1/4 cup, and you're just gonna scoop it into the pan. Got our scoop in there, and we're gonna now add a scoop of the chocolate. I think this might be the stickiest batter I've ever worked with, so just be warned. The metal ice cream scoops are easier. I switched to one of these because it doesn't stick on the batter as much. Keep doing this evenly between all of the pans until you use all of your batter. Look at that, we've got the batter in the pan. It's looking great. The last step before we bake is to give the pan a tap because you want the batter to lay as flat as you can. Helps get those air bubbles out. So you're gonna take your pan and, sorry sound, this is gonna be a little loud, we're gonna tap on your counter. Guess you could put down a towel before you do this, but whatever. Batter is ready, it's time to bake. You're gonna heat your oven to 340 degrees and bake for about 40 to 50 minutes. Just keep your eye on it. To check if it's done, you can poke a toothpick into the cake. If it comes out clean, it's ready to go. While the cakes are baking, we're gonna make our fondant decorations. You can also make these the day before to allow them to sit out and harden. You wanna make sure that some of these larger pieces are completely set and hardened before you put them on the cake so they don't flop over. To make the tiger's ears, I've rolled out some marshmallow fondant in colors orange and some different shades of brown. Just roll your marshmallow fondant out flat and then cut out the shape of your ear. Now, I just did it out of a little bit of parchment paper. I sketched this. It wasn't really more thought out than that. It's a similar shape to when I made the Lion King cake because the ear will go bloop, right on the top. So you just lay your template on top like so, and then using a fondant cutting tool or a small knife, you just cut out your shape. Here's all of the shapes that I've rolled out and cut, and over here is how you're gonna stack and assemble them. To get fondant to stick to fondant, if it's no longer warm and sticky, you just use a little paintbrush and water. Water is the adhesive. So we're gonna take a little paintbrush and we're just gonna paint a little bit on top. Helps the sugar stick to the sugar. So you're gonna take your pieces, and I just eyeballed it. So it's not gonna be exactly perfect, but that's the great thing about fondant. You can kind of wiggle it around just a little bit. If it's too long, you can cut off a little extra. If it's too short, you can stretch it out a little bit and work with it while it's still warm. Now for extra credit, to get the ear to curve, to have a curved shape, we're gonna let them dry and harden in these little bowls. Also for structural support, I'm gonna be sticking 2 toothpicks to the back of the ear. So I'm gonna flip this ear over, put a couple toothpicks here and here, and put a little piece of fondant on the back. And we're just gonna stick it on there like, oh, it's too long. Here we go. See, if it's too long, just cut it off. Just a little too long on this side too. Press down gently, boop, 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 boop. And what's neat about this is when it dries, it will hold those toothpicks in place. All right, to get a curved shape, you're just gonna pick up your ear and place into a bowl like this and just gently press down. You want to be gentle. Yep, you just let it set out for a few hours, let it completely harden. Next, we're gonna make 2 tiger eyes. To do so, marshmallow fondant in regular white, black, and a little bit of yellow. I rolled out each of the fondants flat and cut out these 4 shapes, including this little teeny circle. Assembling the eyes are easy once you've cut out the pieces, and if you'd like to make a simpler eye, you can. There's really cute like kawaii tigers. I went with a more detailed look tiger. One of my favorite brands growing up was Lisa Frank, so this is kind of a Lisa Frank / cutesy tiger. But you can decorate your tiger however you'd like. Again, using a paintbrush, we're gonna stick these together. Put a little bit of down on the white fondant, place the black detail on top, then the yellow, and little circle, just like that. Then let them dry. The last 2 things that we're making are the big cat's mouth and the stripes that will go over the cake. So here I've cut out the shapes for the mouth, and I've used marshmallow fondant. We've got white, black, pink, and like a blush color. I rolled out the fondant flat and cut these little pieces over here. And now again, I'm gonna use a little bit of water to assemble. Here we go. Now these ones, I'm gonna just put a little bit where they connect to act as glue and just slide this right in there, press together. These two little pieces are actually, they're gonna be attaching at the side versus laying them on top. They kind of look like horns right now, but you'll see. Last fondant decoration are going to be the stripes that will go all over the cake. In front of me, I've got some black fondant that I'm going to roll out flat. And then using a larger fondant cutter, which kind of looks like a pizza cutter. So if you don't have a fondant cutter, you could actually use a pizza cutter. You want to use the smooth side, and we're just going to cut a bunch of stripes, probably like 12 or 13. We'll see. Just as many as you can. I'll try to get as many as I can out of this fondant. Okay, this is looking good and took a little bit longer than I expected. Okay, that's okay though. When cutting tiger stripes, think a very skinty banana. What I mean is it's like this at the end, like a little V, and then goes wider, and at the top, little V. Very skinty banana. The skintiest banana that ever skintied. Woo! Perfect. Make a bunch of these. It's okay if the stripes are different lengths and a little bit different thickness. That's okay. I just took the cakes out of the oven, and once your cakes have baked, give them plenty of time to cool before we assemble. And I've leveled off the top. You can do that with a sharp cutting knife, just cutting all the way over, or a cake leveler if you've got one of those as well. And look how cool the design turned out. It looks like just like tiger stripes. It's all tiger design. Also, these smell so good. Chocolate orange is one of my favorite combinations of cake. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, now we're gonna assemble this cake with putting icing in between each layer. In front of me, I've got a cake plate, so just pick whatever you want to display your cake on right now. And below, I've got a turntable, which is just gonna make icing a little bit easier. So we're gonna place this down, and then using some buttercream icing that I've dyed orange, just gonna pipe an outline all the way around the cake, whoop, like so, and then fill it in like the zigzag. Then using an offset spatula, you're just gonna gently apply pressure and smooth the icing around so that when you cut into the cake, each slice has a beautiful layer of icing. Add the next layer of cake, ice again, and then add the third layer. For the top layer, I'm gonna be flipping the cake upside down so the top is really smooth. Once your cake is stacked, we're gonna cover the entire cake with icing. I like to frost the top, just like we did in between the layers, smooth it out a little bit, and then pipe up the sides starting with the bottom. For some cakes, I do a crumb coat, but this cake is very dense, it's very smooth, it's not really crumbly at all, so I'm just gonna be putting a thick layer of icing over the entire thing. This is where we smooth the entire cake. I'm using a large offset spatula. Press it against the side of the cake, apply very gentle pressure, and spin all the way around. And you just keep spinning around until it gets smoother and smoother and smoother. Now that the cake is iced, we're gonna stick on all of our decorations using a little bit of icing. I'm gonna start with the mouth, then the eyes, and then ears. And then stripes. That's right, because we're making it a tiger cake. And ta-da! There you have it, a tiger cake. Orange chocolate cake recipe inspired by Tiger King. I hope you guys enjoyed it. A big thank you to you all for suggesting this video. I had so much fun making it. I'll be posting the recipe down below and on my website. Also, I'll be taking a bunch of pictures and posting them all over social medias. And if you make this cake, please take a picture and send it to me. I love seeing your baking creations. It just makes me happy. It makes my day. And if you enjoyed this baking video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I post a new video. All right, thanks for watching, all you cool cats and kittens. Bye-bye.